here with a very special episode of Mad Mega Gaming, where we voted for Game of the Year 2020 within our little group. And I'll explain those details once this music stops. This music's so long. Alright, so what I had done is I had asked everybody what their favorite games of the year were. Then I sent everybody back a list of those games, and then we voted on it. And I assigned points based on how much someone liked the game. So if it was your number one game, it got 10 points. Number two game, it got 9 points, etc., etc. And so I've put all the numbers together, and I have a list of top 10 games. Some of them I had to fiddle some numbers around with to make sure that certain games that I thought should make the top 10 should make the top 10. But we'll get into those details later. So, the way I'm going to do this, we're going to go through 10 through 2, and then I will go through honorable mentions, and then I will talk about the number one game. Sound good to everybody else?
Good to go.
Sounds good.
I like it.
We got Richie. I'm Matt. AJ's up there in the middle. No camera as of now. Chris over there on the right, and then Marc over there on the lower right. All right. I don't know, I feel rushed today. But anyways. Okay, so we'll start with number 10. Number 10 is a very interesting spot because the two games that tied for number 10, I just put them both on 10 because otherwise one of them would have gotten kicked out, were the game of the year on two separate lists, but nobody else in the group had touched the games and did not vote on it.
It was good, Marc. What's good, my boy? I know it's me and Marc right here, man. Go ahead.
It probably.
Okay, no, it was the exact opposite people. The two games were Tell Me Why and Pixel Ripped, 1995.
Interesting.
All right, now I see that coming, actually.
I also did not see that coming.
Yeah.
All right, so
Interesting.
Richie, why don't you tell us a little bit about Pixel Ripped, because you were the only person who's touched that game.
Heck yeah, freaking Pixel Rip. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I played Cyberpunk and I was like, holy crap, this game is incredible. Screw all those stupid comments. This game is awesome. But then Pixel Ripped came to my life. Dude, if you like nostalgia of, like, you know, when you're in your childhood, being 90s gamer, literally in front of a TV, your mom's telling you, you gotta get off the game. And you're just like, no, mom, I want to keep playing. And you're just freaking playing and playing and playing. And all of a sudden, you know, as a kid, you're always like, you know, I would love it if the game would just really happen. And you're playing, all of a sudden, the game, like your kid playing a game, and the game starts coming to life. That's the whole game. You're literally just a kid just playing a little retro game, and it comes to life, and you're just literally living your dream as a kid. And it's like so freaking like magical. As corny as that sounds, it really is. It's a really good game. Highly suggest everyone play on VR. Really good.
I like how this is a game you played for the first time yesterday. You're like, game of the year.
I was just about to say that.
It surprised me. It took me by surprise. I was like, gosh dang. It literally just took the freaking mantle of Cyberpunk. It's like, no, get out of here. So yeah,
Well,
it did that good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah,
it does look interesting.
It is on my list, especially knowing it is your game of the year after one day of playing it.
Heck yeah.
It's also on sale right now in the Oculus store.
Definitely, yeah. Cop that.
I just bought like 5 games.
Yeah, that really is
did I.
impressive, bro. Than one day game of the year. That means it must be really good.
Yeah, it must
Hey
be
man, when
really
game of the year
good.
hits, it hits.
Hey,
You know,
that means I have high hopes for my game of the year because it wasn't number 10. I thought it was only gonna be me and AJ voting for it. Honestly.
Oh, also, yeah. See, my confusion was I didn't realize you said Tell Me Why in this Pixel game, but one person had each game on their as their game of the year. Is that what you said?
this was the two games were Richie and Chris's game of the year, and nobody else in the group touched them. So those two
That's what you
games
meant.
got 10 points in my.
I thought you meant one game that was on two people's game of the year. So
Oh,
nobody
okay.
else touched it. See, that's why I got hyped.
You were vastly underestimating the amount of points that you can get in this.
Yep,
Apparently.
apparently.
All right, Pixel Ripped is tied for number 10 with our other number 10. And Richie, whenever you need to hop off, just let me know, and I'll switch the cameras around.
Sounds good.
Chris, why don't you tell us about Tell Me Why?
All right. Well, Tell Me Why is a game that came out in August by Don't Nod Entertainment, or the people who created Life is Strange series. So it's a Life is Strange type of game. It's a story driven or like experience. You're walking through a story, kind of like a visual novel, but a little more interaction. Nice cat.
Chris, did you finish this game?
I did. I beat it.
Oh, you did beat it. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Out of all the games I played, I think this one left the most lasting impression. Something I thought about even after I played it. A very good story, solid characters, and it was interesting because the choices were not kind of like in Life is Strange. You make a choice based on your actions, what you think is going to happen, your own preferences. In this one, it's more like, who do you trust? Whose
That was pretty cool.
version of the story do you believe? And it just feels weird disagreeing with other people and saying like, no, my version is the right story. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because, first of all, the story is just pretty good. You just keep coming back to it and just want to see what happens next because it keeps you guessing to the very end. But even after you get to the very end,
Nice view.
well, I won't say anything about the ending, but it's very different. Something that they played around with mechanics that I haven't seen before, and it just made for a very pleasant experience.
Is that the one with the brother and sister?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that game looked really good.
Yeah, it's actually really good to hear that you said it left such a lasting impression because you could tell, those games really do have like a lot of thought and meaning within the narrative. So for it to have, been impactful to that degree, like it did its job. So like it definitely makes me more interested to try it out. It already looked good, but yeah.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
That's a big plus,
yeah, it
man.
is on
Gotta love Game
Pass.
Pass.
Mhm.
Gotta love Game Pass.
I think one of the this is something that nobody's ever going to talk about in any other top 10 in this light specifically is when you YouTube Tell Me Why, so I could see the trailer, so I could like see what you're talking about. Above Tell Me Why is I Want It That Way by Backstreet Boys.
That's what I think of every
That
time I hear the
is
title.
That's
amazing.
funny.
In fact, when I saw on the list for the quiz we did, I was like, "The heck, Backstreet Boys."
It was very funny.
Okay. So that's our number 10 spot, which is tied with 2 games. Our number 9
yeah.
spot also got 10 points, but because 3 different people put it on their list, I ranked that higher. And that game is Tetris Effect Connected.
Oh wow.
Woo!
That was a good game.
Amazing.
That was a good game.
Great game.
Who wants to talk about it?
Really fun.
So I'll talk about it because so the Tetris Effect Connected is and like I just want to get it right, Matt. Is it like it was like a multiplayer re-release?
It's Tetris Effect, which came out on the PlayStation and Oculus
PC.
and PC, that just got ported to Xbox. And when they ported it to the Xbox, they added the multiplayer.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I could kind of speak to it a little bit.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I gotta hop off.
All right, man.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Albert,
Have
take it
fun.
easy, bro.
Perfect transition.
All right. Yeah, so I was gonna say the interesting thing with Tetris Effect Connected. Well, when I first heard about Tetris, I was thinking, okay, it's Tetris. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can you do to make Tetris more interesting? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like one of the best parts about it is the multiplayer aspect. Of course, it has a lot of visual and musical components that make it really fun. Like the music is dope, some good tracks. Also, the visual aspect kind of has like some zen, some soothingness to it, to kind of like add a little flavor to Tetris playing. But at least for me, putting it on my list in general, the heart of it was definitely multiplayer. Like I've never played any type of Tetris multiplayer before. I don't even know if there's ever been Tetris multiplayer, but the way they handled it in this game, making it like co-op, where three people work together to defeat a boss, but using the Tetris mechanics, I thought was genius. Like, I don't know who thought about that, but I would have never came up with it. And I think it works really well. It's really fun. It's really engaging. And it sucks you in. It's a lot of replayability with just a random generation of the different Tetris pieces or whatever. So a lot of replayability there and challenge that keeps bringing you back. Like even when it's late, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and we lose to the boss. The game's good enough to be like, yo, let's just run one more time. You know what I'm saying?
And the music, great
It's
soundtrack.
really good.
Soundtrack's solid, bro.
And I
Second only
believe
to Payday.
Yeah, that's true. I believe I'm the only person who actually played the single player. So Tetris Effect was on my list already because of the Oculus Quest version being released, and that's the one I played. I played it through most of the campaign. I think I got towards I think I'm in the last section actually. I had other games I played, and then it kind of fell to the side. But the campaign for it was amazing. If you guys like the multiplayer, I think the campaign does a lot more interesting things with audio and music, and especially in VR, it kicks ass because instead of all the particles and like the whales for certain sections, and just it's around you as opposed to just being in front of you. And I think that just creates such a more dynamic visual than it is watching it in 2D that I would definitely recommend playing it in VR if you want to go for single player. But I believe multiplayer is only in 2D, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, if you guys got time, check out Tetris Effect Connected. It's also on Game Pass, which is a big plus as well.
And I've also been playing it on PC this time around, not on the Xbox, and bumping up those those particle effects on there just makes the game look amazing. At the same time that it destroys my PC because you could really add particle effects to that game. And
For now.
yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Ooh, next week I get my 3070.
Yeah, I don't know what the rate is on, because I played it on the Series X, and it did look good as far as like particles and stuff is concerned. I don't know what the PC equivalent it is, but I know it is an optimized game for the Series consoles, so it did look really good on there, ran well. But man, Game Pass, check it out, gotta get a chance, because that multiplayer's fun. You grab two other buddies, y'all, you'd be surprised, man. You're thinking Tetris multiplayer, like it'll catch you off guard with how fun it is.
Yeah, and that's our number 9 spot, Tetris Effect Connected. So the next spot, number 8, 2 people voted on it and 1 person left. So this category is the game for this spot at 12 points is Minecraft Dungeons, and Marc is going to tell us all about Minecraft Dungeons.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. I don't know. It was just a fun, simple game. I liked the concept of like a light version of Diablo, because although Diablo is obviously much more expansive, there's also a lot more time commitment, and like having to do more grinds. And this one, since it's so easy to get into, like whenever we played it, the few times we played it, I think we got pretty good equipment. Yeah, so it's just nicer to see results faster without having to spend hours and hours and hours grinding to get the additional 0.2 DPS kind of stuff, Graphically was good. The difficulty did absolutely ramp a lot more. I think we started pretty light, got real cocky, bumped up the difficulty, and then got destroyed. So yeah, it was just a fun game, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it's on Game Pass.
A lot of Game Pass games on this list as I'm looking at it now.
Yeah,
So those ones we have access to.
maybe we're all just really cheap.
Yeah, maybe that's the case.
Hey, because that Game Pass is a good ass deal. That's what it is.
It is a good deal.
That's
Gonna
deal.
come up again later for mine.
Now, yeah, I didn't put Minecraft Dungeons on my list, but I did have fun with it when I did play it. And like you were saying, Marc, that simplicity. Like sometimes you want simplicity, sometimes you don't want to have to read a fucking guide on all these different complex systems. Sometimes you just want to be able to jump in,
right,
and just kind of automatically know like how to play, and it's very just straightforward and simple. And there's a lot of fun to be had in simple. But yeah, no, I can definitely see like this being on someone's list because it is pretty fun. And I know they put out some more like expansions and things. And I don't think I ever beat it, but I did get decently far. But it's a definitely a fun game. It's a game that like anyone. It's so simple, anyone can play it, but it still has that loot grind from like a Diablo type game where you know trying to get that next piece of gear. Like it has those flavors like but at a light tone to keep you still engaged. I think after playing it, I liked the game, but it also just made me want to play like Diablo 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely gets you in that kind of mood.
Hell yeah, dude. Love Diablo 3.
Okay, and then so Minecraft Dungeons. I also played it. I prefer crazy, complicated loot games. Path of Exile, I think I preferred. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It looks cool. I'm going to try and convince my daughter to play it with me at some point, just to give her something to do. But she runs away whenever we fight the zombies, so that hasn't gone anywhere. Okay, our number 7 spot with 12 points as well, but this one had 3 people voting for it, is Deep Rock Galactic. Chris, why don't you introduce us to the world of Deep Rock Galactic?
Deep Rock Galactic. I think I introduced this on the podcast in the past, but yeah, it's a 4-player co-op dwarf mining dungeon game. So you drill down into the earth, go into this cavern, these levels, and you're looking for different minerals and fighting off monster hordes at the same time. And each dwarf, there are 4 types of dwarves, and they all have different abilities, different weapons, and you have to work together to get your job done. It's kind of a cool cartoony look to it, and also has a bunch of replayability, upgrade trees, you know, on your character itself, or upgrade your weapons, get different attachments, cosmetic upgrades. Is it currently in early access or is it fully released?
Full release this year. It's been in early access since like 2018, so that's why it counted
Gotcha.
for Game of the Year.
Okay. Yeah, we've all put some good number of hours into that game. It's really fun. Yeah. So the way we voted for this, we put in like our top games, compiled into a master list, and the giant list came to us. Then we voted again for our top votes. But I didn't put this game in my initial vote. Then when I saw it in the giant list, I was like, okay, that was a good game. Let me give it a. It was more like an honorable mention for me.
Same.
I don't think it was a Game of the Year winner worthy, but I think it's definitely a good contender.
It's funny because you gave it the most points out of everybody. So
interesting. My list was also a lot shorter.
I was like, Chris's must have been hella short.
This is actually number 4 on his list.
Okay, yeah, I enjoyed Deep Rock Galactic. I think, yeah, we need to put more time into it. Play some of the later content. Okay, number 6, and this is when things start spreading out a little bit more cleanly. Like the lower parts, the numbers were really close, but then this is where we start to spread out.
Let's get it.
So, Mark, why don't you lead our discussion of Risk of Rain 2, our number 6 game of the year.
Damn, I got number 6. Wow.
All right.
Holy shit.
So procedurally generated, you can pick up all these upgrades to damage and gadgets and things like that. You have different classes. I actually don't remember the class I used to play because it's been a while since we played it.
Hunter?
But I do remember
Huntress?
I think so. Something like that. I do remember the time I had with it was really fun. I actually ended up playing it a lot while I was out to sea as well. It was a big thing we'd play within the department. So spent a lot of time with it. It's a really, really good game. Really not sure what else to say about it. It's just third person. The graphics are notable.
Oh, what just happened? Did we lose somebody?
Yeah, we lost Chris.
We just Chris
Okay.
just got dropped.
I guess that's fine. Mark and I still appear in our boxes.
Hey, let's go. We just move over to one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. It can get super difficult at top end. As time progresses, you get like the difficulty increases as time goes on. So once you make it through to a certain point, it gets like impossible.
So did this game get like an official release this year or something?
Yes, it was officially released. I don't remember the month, but it was definitely this year.
Okay.
I checked all these dates just to make sure. There was a couple games on the list that had to get kicked off. Moonlighter and Fallen Order got kicked off the list because they technically did not come out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Risk of Rain 2. I really enjoyed that game. And the first one I also really enjoyed. Going into 2, I was nervous because it was going from 2D pixel art to like the 3D cartoony, cel shady style.
Mm-hmm.
But
That was a great decision.
It was a really good decision. I really like Risk of Rain 2, and we need to play more of it.
We do, actually.
Yeah, I think you guys beat it without me, and then never looked back. So.
I mean, I can go back. I like that game.
Yeah, I don't remember anything from it anymore.
Oh, it's a crossplay. I gotta look up and see if it's crossplay. I don't think it is.
Yeah, a quick update. My computer still sucks.
Okay. Well, close, Chris, right?
I almost got my components, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, when you get your CPU, are you gonna get a motherboard now and then just throw the new GPU in there when you get the new GPU?
Well, I need to get the motherboard and RAM. I haven't looked into RAM yet. So
Matt has a whole 8 gigs.
I can give you 8 gigs for free.
I don't want a single 8 gig stick.
You're good for Newegg, man. Such a great business decision.
Oh my god.
I hate it, but it makes so much sense.
So, I got a stick. Might as well get another one. Finish this night. Yeah.
Okay. All right, everybody move out of the way. I'm upset because number 5 is a game that should have been way higher in this list.
Oh god.
It is Hades.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
Hades is my game of the year. I'll lead the
Yeah.
discussion on this one. This is the. Well, actually, no, it's not the lowest. It's the lowest. Okay, no, it's not the lowest one. But Hades, I think, is one of the few games that I can look at and say this game is perfect. The combat, the music, the acting, just everything about it just felt really well done and really polished. And it probably helped that it was an early access for a while.
It was in early access for a long ass fucking time.
Yeah. Technically 1.0 release, so
last year.
I actually never picked it up in early access because it was on Epic Game Store. I did pick it up when it came on Steam in 1.0, and I'm sure I've talked about Hades a bunch on different podcasts, but if you like roguelikes, this is the game to get for this year. If you like roguelikes if you want an interesting story with interesting characters, this is also a game for that. And you wouldn't think a roguelite would have a really good story, but the way that they make it such a natural progression, even after you clear your first run, I think it's really well done, and it doesn't feel like it's wasting your time, which is something that I've gotten from a few of the roguelites even I've liked in the past. And I'm pretty close to 100%ing it. At this point, I'm just waiting for RNG for conversations to hit. So, I guess, yeah. So,
one thing I did enjoy doing in that game is, in between runs, talking to the NPCs. Especially, I forgot her name, Dusa?
Yep, Dusa.
Yeah, you sound like, oh, where's Dusa? I want to talk to Dusa. And actually actively seek her out. So, I do like the characters.
Yeah, make sure you talk in maybe not romance, but just make sure you gift people things, because certain characters will give you special gifts past the first one they give you. So
special gifts.
Special.
Yes.
Step 1: open the box.
So I highly recommend anybody pick up Hades. It's such a great game. Okay. Number 4 is the last game we'll talk about. Then we'll do honorable mentions, and we'll go top 3. Because I think if I talk about 2 and 3, everybody on the podcast is going to know what number 1 is by process of elimination. So,
okay,
we'll talk about number 4. And number 4 is a game that you guys probably could have predicted because this game is on two people's Game of the Year list, which shot it up way past farther up the ranks than I expected at first. So
you mean like it's the number
They're
one?
number one.
it is two different people's number one game, which is how it got up this
Okay.
far. So AJ, why don't you talk to us about Doom Eternal, our number 4 Game of
Let's
the Year.
go.
Let's go, baby! It's up there, baby. Fuck yeah! All right. So first of all, it's fucking Doom, right? So you got the franchise that's been around for fucking forever, right? Fucking Doom. It's gone through a lot of iterations. We think it's crazy when you think about like this. This has gone from like early beginning times of PC gaming and LAN gaming with original Doom multiplayer, having just that I don't know what to call that style of 2D/3D shit FPS, and then evolving to full 3D. And now we have then we had the reboot in 2016, and then Doom Eternal is the sequel to that Doom reboot from 2016. And Doom 2016 was already like fucking incredible. So I originally thought that Doom Eternal was just going to be, just the same thing, just with the 2 slapped on it. Because I wasn't really sure how they can improve it, but they found ways to do it, man. It's faster. They kind of they made the flow of the mechanics a lot better. What I mean by that is like they keep you engaged into the fight. Like now you have different tools that provide you with different resources that'll give you back like ammo, health, armor, depending on those tool sets. You're gonna do a balancing act of beautiful combat to keep yourself sustained and in the fight at all times. One big thing I really liked is also just how well it runs. The id Tech, bro, that engine is insane, and they have managed to optimize the fuck out of it because it runs beautiful on even all the old gen consoles like Xbox One, PS4, and their pro versions. So it ran. I played it on the 1X when it originally came out, and it ran beautifully. It was 4K 60, smooth, fast, intense gameplay, fucking kick-ass, badass soundtrack, making you feel like a badass at all times. Heart is racing, adrenaline is pumping. Engaging storyline. I feel like there was even more emphasis on the story in the Doom guy, man. So the campaign was good, and then adding a little bit of ice into the cake, they even introduced a kind of like a unique multiplayer mode because Doom 2016 did that multiplayer, but I don't think no one was like playing that shit. And so they had this idea to create kind of one of those what's that term called when it's like fucking one team's the monster.
Asymmetric
Gameplay. Yeah, so you got I think it's 2 players that play as Demon, and then one person plays as the Doomslayer, and so that was a very unique type of gameplay for Doom that felt kind of fit the idea of current Doom and how the mechanics work. So that was a lot of fun too. And of course, they introduced other cool things like Battle Pass, skins, of course, all the collectibles, throwback soundtracks and art defined within the game, dope ass lore, codex pickups is all in the game. It's just this is a fucking like 10 out of 10 game. Like I don't remember having any bugs, any glitches. Like everything ran perfect and it was fucking fun, thrilling, engaging from beginning to end, bro. Doom Eternal, like that to me, like that is a fucking must play game. I mean, I don't even think and to be honest, you don't even have to play Doom 2016 first. I don't really think you need to. You can jump right into Eternal and still have a good ass fucking time.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Mark did it.
It is just hype from literally start. You start the game, and like 3 seconds in, they're like, "Also, here's a chainsaw."
Yep.
And it's awesome. I love it, and I played on a 2070, and it just runs great.
Dude, the upgrade paths too. Like, there's a lot of upgrade options for your weapons and abilities. To kind of add in that progression, into building your character and making them even more badass. Enemy types were fun. Like, create interesting combat scenarios. I played shit out of that game, man. I did all the fucking gates. I got the fucking I forgot what the mega weapon is called. I think it starts with the U. I can't remember what it's called at this time, but you got to get all the fucking Slayer Gate keys. I did that shit because the game's just fun, man. It's a challenge. I don't play on a fucking highest difficulty. I don't do that shit. You know, I'm not
No.
a fucking, you know, what's a masochist? I'm not that level. I play it like medium. You know what I'm saying? But the game is still dope though, and the challenge is there if you want it. You want to play on Ultra Nightmare and shit? It's up to you. But Doom Eternal, man, is so good. It is such a solid fucking game. It is fucking a perfect. That's why it's my number one, man. Like kind of like you were saying, Matt. Like Hades being a perfect game. Like Doom Eternal is a perfect like fucking game. It knows what it is. It does it fucking well. There's no issues. It's QA'd really well. And they got good lore, multiplayer content. They just dropped new DLC, so the game's got support. It's dope, man. I can't recommend, you know, fucking Doom Eternal enough. And you don't even gotta play 2016. Just grab Eternal, bro. And I pay full price. I'd even if it's still full price right now, I'd recommend full price right now. $60. It's worth it. You'll get your money's worth.
It's on PC and Xbox Game Pass as well.
Yep. And if you got the new current gen consoles, I think they already put out optimized versions of Eternal. I think. If not, I think it is coming. So there's that too. If you want, you know, a game to play on your new systems. There's a Switch version, but we ain't talking about that.
I heard it's not bad.
Nah, that is a vastly inferior version.
Surprisingly workable is what
I would
heard.
say
Workable.
if you have the capability to play it at 60 or higher FPS, do that instead. Because that's what also makes the game shine.
I am waiting for my new card to come in before I break into this, and I'm gonna ramp everything up and see how much I can get out of it.
A lot.
Doom Eternal, baby. I'm so glad I made this on the list. That's my boy Marc. Marc
You
knows the
already know,
fucking
man.
good game. That's my boy right there, man. Doom Eternal, baby.
I mentioned that things were getting away points-wise, and I did not mention points for these, but so Risk of Rain was 15 points, Hades was 17 points, and then Doom Eternal got 20 points.
Let's go.
Just
Doom
flat 20 for
Yep.
the 10
It made
out
it
of
in the
10.
top 5.
Top 5.
Let's go.
Okay.
All right.
We'll move on to honorable mentions or interesting things that I found in this. One of the questions I asked when I sent out the questionnaire was, what game did you miss out on in 2020 that you wanted to try?
That's a good question.
Yep.
That's a good question.
Because I think games like Code Vein I didn't play until 2020, and so it couldn't make this list, even though it would be top of my list. But it would have made my list last year, and so that's why I wanted to mention this. So Baldur's Gate 3, which came out in early access this year, I assume will be early or full release sometime soon. So that will possibly be a game that we talk about at Game of the Year time. And then the other one that was on this list was Ghost of Tsushima. No, I said that wrong. Ghost of Tsushima. Which were the two games that people missed out on. So I guess keep an eye. People, I assume, will try these games out within the next year.
I got two hopes. PS4 Pro will go on cheap ass sale. If not, PS5. But what I'm really hoping is for a PC release.
That would be good. I'd pick it up if it was on PC.
Probably not for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Let's give the trends.
Well, Death Stranding
So
is out
did
on
PS5
PC.
version, and I got a PS5. But yeah,
Did everyone except Matt write Ghost of Tsushima?
No,
I
it
wrote-
is definitely up there.
I wrote
I
Ghost of Tsushima on mine.
Okay, that's what I wrote.
What'd you write, Marc?
I actually don't think I wrote anything.
There it is.
Because when I was thinking, I was like, it's like, well, I think I've played all the games I wanted to really play. Because I didn't even really think about other platforms, honestly.
See, the
Because
issue is all he could think about was Doom Eternal, so he's just like, I don't need anything else.
it was right under that. I was like, Doom Eternal. What else was I supposed to be doing? No, I just didn't really think about
And that Mick Gordon soundtrack.
cross-platform stuff. I've never really played PlayStation, so it's always been off my radar on whatever they released.
Yeah.
I can feel that. I can understand.
But I have seen a lot of like good stuff that come out of it. Like I've always wanted to play God of War. Ghost of Tsushima looks really good.
Especially because of that co-op mode. Damn, dude, this shit looks.
Oh
so
yeah,
cool.
that's right. I forgot they had that.
Legend.
So,
What did Richie put?
Baldur's Gate.
Oh yeah, he did say he want to play that really bad.
Yeah, I think minutes before I was putting the data together, I was like, "Oh crap, I forgot to play Baldur's Gate."
Yep.
And Richie was also in the same boat.
we'll all except Rich will need to get a better PC, but we'll all have above the recommended
Ooh.
specs for Baldur's Gate.
It's
Finally.
So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point, Stadia and PC will have cross play. I don't know that's in it yet, and I think that's the main thing that stopped me from getting it. Was I was waiting for us to be able to all play together, or at least 4 of us to play together. So, yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick it up at some point. I just don't know when. Okay. The game with the least amount of points in the group, and this was by default because I think only 2 people put 10 games on their list. And I played the weird games, so of course my game was the one with the least points, and that my number 10 spot went to Half-Life Alyx with 1 point.
dang, 1 point.
It's really good. I just haven't finished it, and so I
Yeah.
couldn't put it high on my list, but I think it
That's
is
not even like a weird game. You know what I mean? I think that's just more of like it's a game people want to play, but you either got to have the equipment or, the time. And then plus, it's also full price games. I wouldn't say that's like
Yeah,
a
I
weird,
guess yeah.
a
I'm
weird
looking
game.
at the rest.
More like, yeah.
I'm looking at the rest of my list. I'm like, nobody's ever gonna play these games. But yeah, Half-Life Alyx, and I did want to briefly talk about it because it is a really cool game, and I think it does it's really immersive. Just being able to interact with things, and the gravity glove, I think, was a really nice addition to make it feel seamless that you're in that world. But the sheer disrespect from the gaming community in this game just not being in the conversation, especially at the Game Awards where it didn't even make the Game of the Year list, was I think that was rude. And I think it's just because people don't have VR.
I think that's what it is. Not enough people played it.
Yeah.
Because to me, Half-Life Alyx was the first VR game that looked like a non-VR game. If you get what I'm trying to say, where the quality matched that of a non-VR game. I'm gonna play it one day for sure.
Yeah, and it's great. I really enjoy it, and I need to finish it. It's just a matter of I tried so many games in the last couple months. I just haven't finished any. So 2021, my goal again is going to be to finish the games I start.
There's also, before we move on to like the rest of the list, I do want to mention this as well. So we're talking about finishing games. There is a game that that Matt and Chris need to finish in 2021. That would be Sekiro. That was the game of the year.
Oh yeah,
the previous year. Just want to
That's true.
understand.
I did play
On the record,
2 weeks ago.
Sekiro was game of the year. I think finished that in 2021.
I've also touched that game in the last couple weeks, so I'm attempting it.
Good ass.
I got destroyed and put it down.
Yep.
I think it just prep for Elden Ring, right? Like just getting good.
Elden Ring doesn't exist.
It's not
It's the most
real.
anticipated game apparently.
If it does, it's not an action game. It's something else.
Top-down, turn-based RPG.
I would just quit gaming. That's what it was. I just retire. Maybe I had to start reading books or something.
Books aren't bad.
Yep.
Okay. Another honorable mention, a game on the most list that did not break into the top 10. This game got, I guess, technically 12th, and that is Fall Guys.
Okay.
I think I did put that towards the end of my list once we did the second list that we redid, because I was like, I did have fun with it, and it was like a cultural phenomenon for a time, and I feel like it did have some impact, and it kind of brought back that like party game spirit a little bit. So I did add it towards the end of my list. I was like, I'll give it the respect because it did have that party game like feel, kind of brought that back into the mix. I like those kind of games, those like mini game party games, like Mario Party and shit. Big fan.
I have no idea why we don't play this game. I really like this game.
For me, I didn't put it on my list because while it was a cultural phenomenon, everyone played it for a while. I think I got everything I needed out of it in like 5 games.
I could see that.
Yeah.
So here's a question: did you get a dub?
I've not gotten a dub.
See, that's it right there. That's the
So
problem.
it's like
The challenge.
your meter depletes, you get your dub, it refills again, and keeps
Yeah,
I never got that dub, so it just drained.
Am I the only one with a dub in this chat right now?
I got second
think
place
so.
one time, and then I just stopped playing the game. I think is
That
what
sounds
happened.
like not a dub.
Hey, your boy, the only one in the chat with
See a
a dub.
V.
Mhm. I like the challenge, man. I like those kind of games that have that like competitive edge to it, but still kind of simple. I just trying to get the dub, bro. Like That's the grind. Like you gotta get a crown.
I did play it for a bit.
I like that grind.
With the new update, and it's even more chaotic than it has been, just because
Nice.
the new maps are ridiculous. Or at least maybe I'm just not familiar enough with them. So I think I don't know. Maybe try it out again, Chris. Maybe you'll like it.
Maybe I have
Good
to
music,
continue.
Good ass mini music in that game.
Hi, Nadine.
Dude, what the OG?
Nadine says
Nadine.
hi.
What's up?
Hi.
Okay, so
I've ever met her.
Like, who's this?
all right, so the next category is games that were number 3 on people's list, but did not make the top 10. And I just thought it was so striking
What?
that
This is interesting.
Is this all Matt's?
I think mine is on there.
okay. So
I know one of my games didn't make it.
I really wanted to mention
know some.
Spiritfarer, and I had to find a way to bring it into the conversation. Is essentially what this category
knew
is.
it.
No, I had talked about all the games above this, and I was like, well, it's just really interesting that there's just those 3 games were by themselves in a group. So, Spiritfarer, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Last of Us Part 2 were number 3s that did not make it on the top 10, and then everything else is lower than top 3. So I guess this is the king of the crap pile, essentially,
Nice.
is what you could call Last of Us Part 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Spiritfarer.
Hey, I want to shout out someone on my list too. That's not up there. Is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, one of the best remakes, like out of all the remakes. So shout out to that team for actually making a really good remake and doing a remake the way it's supposed to be done. And I wish more people who do remakes would kind of follow how they did it, because they fucking executed really well.
Since AJ mentioned
was-
it, I'm going to add another category. Top 4s that did not make anybody else's list and also did not make top 10. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2 and One Step from
Oh, yeah.
Eden, which nobody's ever heard of, but is one of my favorite games of the year.
I've heard of it, but only because you mentioned it.
Yeah, that's really about it.
That's the only reason. You mentioned it in the past, and that's the only reason I know it.
Most of these games, you mentioned them, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, and I have to like Google them. So I'm like, what is this man talking about?
Okay, it doesn't help that every time I've told you the name of this game, I've changed it because I'm never sure what the game is. I actually had to look up the name of this because when you beat a section, it's called One Leap from Eden, One Step from Eden, One Hop from Eden, and so it just gets confused in my mind. That's one of my favorite games. And Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, a game I want to get, I will get at some point. I did not pick up in 2020.
Game is so good.
Hey Matt, where do you hear about these games?
Indie Underground.
One Step from Eden, I played that at TGS.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
And-
kind of cool.
I thought that was super cool.
I thought you were going to
so-
say like r/indie gaming.
I should
Indie
go
Gaming
there.
Digest.
Yeah, so those are my extra categories. Just curious, predictions for what you guys think will be top 3.
I get a feeling Cyberpunk's gonna be on there.
I know.
Cyberpunk's gonna be on there.
I got 2 off rip that I know is gonna be up there, and that's Cyberpunk and Phasmo. Not because of me though. Not because of me. That's a hot take. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But I know those 2 for sure. Other than that, the only maybe Warzone is up there.
I think maybe Warzone. I had Warzone ranked personally pretty high because I do really enjoy that, and I've actually put a pretty decent amount of hours in there.
Yeah, so I'm willing to
Yeah, I
bet
haven't.
Phasmo, Cyber, and Warzone.
In that order.
Yes.
No,
I think Phasmo's gonna be 1.
I think Phasmo is going to be 3
Really?
because I had it low on my list.
Actually, well, I take it back then. Phasmo is gonna be second.
Ooh, that's a good point.
But what do you think is number 1?
Cyberpunk.
You know for damn
Hot
sure that
take.
if Cyberpunk was number 1 on the list, I would have done whatever power I had to knock it off the 1 spot.
You gotta let the numbers fall where they will.
You gotta, yeah.
All right, so guys, I had to heavily weigh certain categories to make it more fair for certain games.
How indie is it, and is it owned by a AAA company?
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
let's hear it.
Number
Here we go.
3.
Let's do it. Number 3. Let's see what we got. What we got.
Number 3.
Standing up.
Mark's going to introduce us to the world of Call of Duty Warzone.
I knew.
Oh,
I knew
before
that was
before you get into it, I think Mark
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I had a conversation about is it qualify, and I think we agreed that yes, because it's separated kind of, and also came out in 2020 that it did count for 2020.
It is
Yeah,
on
but it's
download.
not even separated. Kinda, it is separated in its own entity. You can download Warzone
Yeah.
for free without owning either of the Call of Duties.
Yeah, I guess.
And is apparently being run by a separate developer now. That Infinity Ward can do Modern Warfare, inevitably Modern Warfare 2.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so Call of Duty
which
Warzone
is also
counted.
why, yeah,
Okay.
it's great. It's one of my favorite battle royales because it's literally playing Call of Duty, but with a bunch of people. And it's awesome because I've always enjoyed the feel of Call of Duty, and it has the same meaty Modern Warfare engine, even with these new guns that just came from Cold War, like last week before. They just remodeled them, rebalanced them out, and then threw those guns in with the Modern Warfare guns. So now the pool for weapons is massive. And they're looking at the new maps that are coming out, and it's just overall good. And then the support you get for the holidays, the Halloween one, the Haunting of Verdansk, was such a great game
That
mode.
That was a
cool.
fun one, yeah.
That was such a fun game.
Was
Where
that-
you
did I
turn
play
into
that
a
one?
zombie.
Yes. I played
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think
I
you
played
Yeah,
did.
because I watched your stream with that.
I'm sure
You
I
turn
didn't
into
do
a
it.
zombie. You kill 2 other people to get your vials, and then you just respawn, and that's it. You're like, all right, I'm back, and you can do that continuously.
Speak to the
until you get
presentation of
killed.
Warzone too, bro.
The what?
Like the overall presentation of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just visually very nice looking. I'll probably pick it up on PC now that I'm trying to transition to that a little more, but that's going to be a nightmare for me to get used to. When
One
all
of the
these,
dopest battle royale intros ever.
yeah, the intro, the outro,
And the
when
win.
Yes.
And the
Oh,
win,
is
the
nice.
dub screen.
dude.
But also, it
Well,
can be kind of painful when you're that second to last squad and you
Yeah.
get killed.
Oh yeah.
You watch
That's when
the
you
squad
that's
get
when you turn
back.
off your box.
Yeah. Demoralizing. But yeah, it overall fantastic game. I get to play as a person with cat ears on because I think that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah, see,
I couldn't say
Oh, yeah.
Warzone is
more about it.
Warzone is awesome, man. Like Mark said, is you got the Call of Duty mechanics, right? So as far as like just the feel of the FPS, it feels fucking great. It feels so good. And then you have these other mechanics they've introduced, like respawning, going to the gulag, to come back. But you can also still
Gulag
get
is really cool.
respawn via purchase. And then the overall like just sexiness of the presentation, so that dope ass intro to get you hyped, seeing your own character, and then the map, the layout of the map, and then just the drop in, the assortment of weapons, how armor works, the things you can buy, the amount of players on the map. It just feels good, man. Like that's the best way to describe it. It's just a battle royale that feels really good. Feels so good. And then also the different alternate game modes that they introduced, like the little armored game mode that we did. Kind of speaking to the support that you mentioned, Mark. Like they do so many different things within the Warzone to kind of spice it up and give you different tastes of battle royale. That's dope too.
I was about to say that armor mode. I think you're talking about the armored truck.
Yeah.
But that game mode was so much fun.
That was awesome.
So
dude.
much hype and just
That was
oh,
so
man.
good.
Just Mad
me
Max.
and Chris sitting in the back with just decked out LMG. Just
I'm just trying to whip that bad boy.
So good. Oh man.
Yeah, Warzone, man, it's so good.
If they had the Warzone controls in Apex, I think I like Apex a lot more. I think my only gripe with Apex is that I cannot aim at all.
Hip fire.
Because Call of Duty has perfected the FPS aim. Call of Duty and Halo have like the best FPS aim ever.
But yeah, about it.
All right. Just want to go through these numbers again, just so everybody remembers. Tell me why Pixel Ripped and Tetris Effect Connected got 10 points. Minecraft Dungeons and Deep Rock Galactic got 12 points. Risk of Rain got 15. Hades got 17. Doom Eternal got 20. And Warzone got 22. So,
nice. Okay.
Wow.
as we get into our top 2,
Here we
Oh,
go.
God.
Cyberpunk. Let's go, baby. I'm ready to talk it
Cyberpunk
up.
number 2.
I'm ready to
At
talk it
Number
up.
2.
20.
Phasma's number 1.
5 points.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
man looks defeated.
Disappointing
There it is.
Number 2, Cyberpunk. KJ, hit us up with it.
Oh, okay.
Fuck yeah, baby. So I actually put Cyberpunk 2077 as my number 2, right behind Doom Eternal. And the only reason that I did that was because of how poor Cyberpunk 2077 runs on the previous gen. That's the only reason that knocked it down. Because other than that, I think it's a fantastic game. It would have been my number 1, but I couldn't ignore that fact. So Cyberpunk 2077, right? CD Projekt Red's next big game after The Witcher 3. Now it's controversial game, right? Like there's two different sides online. You got the people that think that it was overhyped and they underwhelming, they underdelivered. Oh, it's not GTA. It's not the same open world as GTA. Bullshit like that, right? You got the other people, like people in my camp, who was like, bro, y'all are tripping. This is an open world RPG. In that mindset of like, fucking Skyrim, I guess, as Marc put it when we spoke about it earlier, where you go out and you got the world, you're building your character. It's RPG, right? You're building your character, you're getting the loot, you're doing these side missions, and of course, you got the overarching main mission as well, and you're playing in that nice city sandbox. So me myself, I play on the PC, and I don't have a monstrous PC, but I have a decent one enough to get me to play a version of Cyberpunk that looks more like the trailers. I'm kind of getting something that resembles what they were marketing, right? So for me, they fucking nailed it as far as what I was looking for. Like my expectation bar was high as fuck for Cyberpunk, and I think they fucking killed it. I have so much fun in this game. Right now, I'm sitting at about 21 hours, and I'm still discovering stuff that's getting me fucking hyped. Like and Marc was online. I just got the mantis blades on my arm, which are the arm blades. Man, that was hype. But I really enjoy the world. One of my favorite things is the detail of the world, like just the overall immersion and with the ads, the people, and the visual fidelity of the game. They kind of like pull you in. And then I just like interacting with the choices and the characters and hearing some of the people's like stories for missions. Like I just did a mission where it kind of talked about a guy who had a PTSD and what he was dealing with, with his depression, and kind of relating it back to things we still see, but in that 2077 world, and how no one was really giving a fuck about him. So you still have some of that same maturity and deepness. Some of the side missions that you kind of saw with Witcher 3, it still might not be at that level as far as the complexity of the side missions, but I think it still has that it still adds to the overall lore and maturity to some of the side mission, what's kind of going on, and to people in the background, the average citizens and things. But Cyberpunk 2077, man, it's dope. I'm definitely in the camp that says that this is a fucking great game. Number 2 for me, only because they shouldn't have released it on previous gen. They should have known, and I'm sure it's not dev's fault. I'm sure it's management, but they should have known that shit could not handle this game. And if they just would have moved it off of that, which obviously they couldn't because it was too late, but if they just released it on current gen only, I think it would have been a different discussion, because people wouldn't have been plagued by poor performance. Because at least for me, man, when I'm playing on PC, I barely have issues. Barely do have issues, man. I've only crashed one time. I never have had like game breaking stuff, but also play kind of within the sandbox as well. Like I don't do crazy ass shit, so that might also kind of make it a different experience. But I love this game, bro. I'm ready to drop 60 hours in. I'm 21 in. I'm ready for the next 40.
Does Richy have the most amount of time in the game?
Marc does.
Probably Marc.
Okay.
Marc has the most time for sure.
I'm at 30 hours right now.
Okay.
I've actually think I've gotten to a point, and I don't know because I didn't look it up, but the next main story mission I do tells me that it's a point of no return. That I can't complete
Final
additional
boss, maybe?
side missions until I do this particular thing. So I haven't. I just been burning all these side missions now. About 30 hours in, I got fat stacks of money, and I treat this game very much like Skyrim in the sense that I do my stealth one-shot builds, so I hit people for 100k plus damage with one bullet.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's actually why I enjoy the game is I went in with less hype or anticipation as AJ did. And it's still on the surface a good RPG game. I just play it just like Skyrim. That's in 2077. I don't think it's shattered any genre. It's not remaking the open world RPG by any means. It's not as big deal as CD Projekt Red made it seem. Still a good game, and I think it was number 3 for me.
I like to play devil's advocate a lot on this just because it's fun to play the other side. I think Cyberpunk 27, if I didn't put Baldur's Gate 3 as my game I've missed out on, it would have been Cyberpunk 2077. It's a game that I think has a good foundation, and I think once they fix some of the issues, and I obviously have a better PC to be able to play it on, then I think it is something that I could play and at least beat the main story, because it has a lot of interesting things to it. But from what I've read and then what I experienced playing it, it seems like it's a game that it'd probably be a better experience for me if I just waited until it was a little bit more refined.
Yeah, there's a lot of choice, man. Like even just talking to Mark, like we've done completely different things, taken different paths. Like there's a particular part, towards the beginning. Of course, I won't say any spoilers, but like he did something that I didn't even know was possible to happen. You know what I'm saying? And my mind was blown. I was like, bro, I cannot believe that is even an option.
It
amongst
was
all the other
very,
options.
very funny turn of events. I'm not gonna lie.
So I love that, man. I love when I get presented with, choices, and even if some choices are more impactful than others, just having that slightly different choice where I can even, speak a certain way or speak a different way, where I can be more aggressive or be more reserved. Having different options like that, like it's fucking dope. And I like how Mark's, talking about treating it like treating it like an RPG. Getting that loot and those upgrades on different builds. There's a lot of different builds you can do. Like he's going with more like that stealth multiplier damage approach. I'm definitely more like that. I'm just walking the front door and I'm fucking everybody up approach. And then there's a lot of in between as well with like the hacking and things like that. So yeah, man, the RPG aspect is so dope, man. I love it.
So I'm actually on the opposite side. I'm more towards Matt's devil advocate. Now, while I think it's a good game, I could not put it on my top game of the year list because of how broken it was and unplayable on certain consoles. Now, if it was just next gen only, awesome, good. And I think that definitely held it back because my problem with the game is not the main story or the gameplay. I think those are completely fine and really fun. It's just the rest of the world just feels unfinished. Now, if they pushed back the deadline and filled all those gaps out, made the world a little more lived in, have the NPCs have better dialogue, a little more lifelike, I think it would have been very immersive and the fleshed out world. But the old gen consoles plus the crunch timeline and whatever other management issues they had over there just caused it to be an incomplete game, in my opinion. Now, if this game was just a linear story with a smaller city area, I think it would have done a lot better at the current state. If it didn't try to make it such an expansive world, and plus, it's hyping everything up, saying this is going to be the genre defining, it's going to be the definition of next gen, and promising this and that, and just failing to meet those expectations. That's what kind of knocked it down for me. But the gameplay wise and main story wise, I think it's a solid game. Has a very good moments, cinematic moments. The interactions between characters are great. It's just once you stray away from that main pipeline, it gets a little messy.
I gotta disagree, bro. I don't see it, bro. I think the side missions be hitting, bro. I'm telling you. I guess it also depends on how you play your games, right? Like when you're playing a side mission, right, and you pick up the codec or the tablet that was sitting on the table, do you read it? You know what I'm saying? And like for me, when I'm playing those side missions and I, pick up a tablet or a shard that's got a little bit of expanded information, where the person that I'm about to be going to talk to was talking to someone else, and I get even more backstory on that individual. Like I don't know, it makes it feel like kind of like deep and immersive, and kind of adds that life to it. Even outside of the main missions, just seeing how some of these people are affected within the city, like that PTSD side mission that I just did, which had an insane conclusion to it. But I actually went on that individual's computer in his room, and he had emails from his doctor where the doctor was telling him, "Hey, you didn't show up to your last appointment. Like, what's going on?" And like learning more about him and the issues that he was having with this depression. You know what I'm saying? Like that's deep, bro. You know what I mean? So I think that's another thing too. I think Matt brought this up. We had another conversation previously, like how people play games. So like for me, I like games like Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk and shit like that, where like those things exist, where I can go and do a mission and learn about just that one citizen right there and what's going on with that person's life, and read the letters that they have in their house and read their emails. You know what I'm saying? And because I like that type of immersion. So when I see that shit, I'm like, damn, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? But for somebody else, maybe they don't read all those things. Or maybe they don't want it to be done that way. Maybe they want it to be more upfront. You know what I mean? And maybe it might not feel, to them, that doesn't feel as good. You know what I mean?
I read every shard I pick up, and I read letters, I read notes and books, and the games I play like Skyrim and all that. And yeah, I do enjoy the world building that's happening outside of the game, but it doesn't always translate to the main experience. It just seems like extraneous information flowing somewhere else. It's not well incorporated, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just my opinion.
I feel that. I can respect that.
Everybody knows that the best side piece of random information that has nothing to do with the game or the storyline is the lusty Argonian maid in Skyrim. Those are always funny to read.
That's a copy you put in your own house.
I honestly, if they had a leather-bound book of it, I would buy. I'm sure they do. Actually, I'm going to look that up over here.
Hey, all I'm saying is, I got a Pyromancer 3000 inventory right now. If that doesn't make it a great game, I don't know what does. You know what I mean?
Is that the mega?
It's a big one.
It's the big boy.
It was a big one. It's sitting in inventory right now. Took it back.
I think I still have that in my inventory.
How has nobody made this? I'm gonna make this and sell it on the internet.
Oh yeah, you make so much money off that.
Oh, Etsy, $90.
Not bad.
Damn.
Now, one thing we do got to bring up with Cyberpunk, right? Like you guys brought up the devil's advocate people brought up a good point with it becoming an even better game down the line, which has happened with other games. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but we have seen games that have evolved to be better. I think like Destiny 2.
No Man's Sky.
Like
Destiny.
Yeah, like No Man's Sky. That's a great example. People hated that game when it first came out because they felt like it. They oversold it. I guess the same kind of thought that some people have for Cyberpunk. So it could become that game where it's like, so this is the game that they were talking about for people, right? Because I think even in the pipeline, they mentioned this, and I don't know if it's still in the pipeline, but I know they mentioned it in previous, like marketing or publications or whatever. But that they're even going to add a multiplayer component to Cyberpunk. They've never explained what that would look like. But that just kind of adds to that idea of like they're going to evolve the game into even more things. So, maybe you guys can definitely revisit it in the future, and then, by that time it'll have realized its full potential for you. Maybe you end up enjoying it at that point.
I will continue playing it. I do enjoy the game. I just don't think it's where it needs to be just yet.
I'm going to watch the progress that they make over the next year and then make a decision. I'm in the process of returning it. It's been like 2 weeks and I haven't heard anything back outside of automated messages saying we're working on it. So,
wait, so
did you buy it on GOG?
Hmm?
Did you buy it on GOG or Steam?
Yeah, I bought it on GOG.
Hey man, this week you could totally have a different experience.
It's true.
That
It's
is true. That is true.
I
Next
was
thing
gonna
you
say
know,
because
young
this
boys.
game is very elitist, I guess, in a way.
I can see that.
I have a very different experience.
That's exactly what I think
Then-
Cyberpunk 2070 is.
I have a very different experience than everybody
very
else.
corporate
AJ has a very
game.
different experience
Yeah,
than everyone else because we have decent rigs,
because I'm saying right now, man,
and
This
you'll
is by
have the best
far-
one as of this week.
the best looking, most detailed game I've ever played in my life.
You haven't played Hades yet.
Best one meaning best rig. Not necessarily the best experience, but you'll have the best rig, potentially having a better experience than us because you'll be able to up the graphics a little more and have less
So,
issues.
so this game got number 2 just off of me, Mark, and Richie.
Yeah. Do you guys want to go into specific numbers?
Yeah, let's do it.
I was just curious.
So AJ
Where
put
was
it
Mark?
number 2. Mark and Richie put it
Fuck
number
yeah.
3, which is very different than
Nice.
Richie's original list. He bumped that game way higher when he saw the final list.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So he had it lower actually.
It was Cyberpunk or the game that it was supposed to be. Was how he wrote it.
Richie's conflicted. He doesn't know if he likes the game or he hates it.
Yeah.
Did you write that?
Yeah, he wrote that.
Because I wrote that too.
Maybe you wrote that. Maybe that wasn't Richie.
Yeah, it's probably me.
That was probably
Say
you.
like,
then.
wow.
Okay, maybe I'm mixing up lists then.
Oh, okay. That was mixed up. There's no way Richie wrote that. Yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm.
as a reminder, Hades got 17, Doom Eternal got
Uh-huh.
20, Warzone got 22, Cyberpunk 2077 got 25. Keep those numbers in mind, because our next game made it on 4 different lists, was on number 2 on 3 different lists, and coming in at a whopping 32 points is your Mad Mega
insane.
Gaming Game of the Year, Phasmophobia.
Wow.
Hi.
That's
I
insane.
I think mine was like number 6
Yes.
or 7 on my
Yeah, I don't
list.
know how the fuck you guys have that at like 2,
was number 3.
3.
Oh, dude, it's such a
Insane.
good game.
That
It's
is
good.
wild shit.
The loop I feel is like too short.
I think that's the benefit of it, is that we can just hop in and do another game pretty quickly. Especially, was it you and I, Mark, who played, and well, at least I called out what the ghost was instantly, and we were just trying to figure it out. I'm getting to the point in Phasmo where I'm starting to recognize ghost behavior and can guess the ghost before we even get any
Jesus.
evidence. So at some point, the game loop will be broken. But as of right now, it is. We complain all the time about not having unique multiplayer experiences, and I think Phasmophobia definitely hit that niche for me for being a game that's multiplayer, is unique, and it's just fun to do. And I played in VR, and I like getting spooked when there's other people around. I don't do single player scary games.
Just pretty revolutionary in terms of horror games.
Yeah,
The whole, the sound and the voice activations and everyone having their own experiences, radios going out.
VR
There's
working
been
with
games
It's very
2D.
innovative.
There's been other games with some voice things.
Well, yeah, I
Which
mean, you
ones?
have like what Tony Hawk's, or not Tony Hawk's Hawk, Tom Clancy's
That's
Hawk,
like-
I think, was that one of
Yeah,
those
I
Tom
remember
Clancy games?
that, but I mean, in a horror game,
Yeah,
I feel like
know-
as in the horror game department, it was very immersive.
Like I remember Alien Isolation when it originally
Yeah.
released. I don't know about the PC version, but I know on the original Xbox One with Kinect,
Yep.
you could have like the hot mic on, and you couldn't even make sounds if he was around, and that you could engage, and he could attract him with with vocals and breathing and yelling or anything like that. 'Cause I thought it was pretty, so stuff like that.
So that was only in the Xbox version?
I'm sure it was probably on PC too, but I played it on Xbox One, so that's just what I'm familiar with. Oh, lost Chris.
we lost
Oh, there he
Chris
is.
as he was asking a question.
Man. Okay, let me get back up here. Yeah, so is that Alien Isolation, was that just a Xbox thing?
Oh, I was saying that I'm sure it's probably on PC as well, but I've just personally played on Xbox One, so I know the feature was there. I'm sure it might have been on the PC as well.
That's cool. Is there a reason to use your voice in the first place?
I don't know if there was any beyond just noise for attraction of the,
Yeah, I
the
think
alien.
that's the case. I think that was just
Yeah,
all
I
it was
think it was
used for.
purely noise detection.
Mhm.
Cool. Did not know that.
Well,
Imagine-
I still haven't
I'm
played that
on
game.
I'm on the other
Imagine-
side of Phasmo. I think the game's boring as fuck.
Hey, be
And,
nice. I was nice about Cyberpunk. Be nice about Phasmo. It's our game of the year.
Yeah, that game was. It did not make my list at all. Now, I think that the way Chris described Fall Guys is how I describe Phasmo. Once you've done it once, you've done it all the time. And for me personally, like it's the same thing. Okay, we're gonna look for the cold temperature. We're gonna look for the EMF. Okay, it's the same evidence. What ghost is it? Yep, that's the ghost. All right, and that's it. So for me, once I had played, I'm not sure how many games I've played, but let's just say I've played 10 games. Once I've done those 10 games, I felt like I had seen enough to where it became boring for me personally, and then I had no desire to play it anymore.
I wonder if it's a Destiny syndrome in which, because the rest of us had played a ton of it before you played it, or like we played a lot of it when you weren't playing it, that we were just moving at a different speed than you, and so you were kind of playing catch up because the rest of us kind of knew what we were doing going in.
I guess that's possible.
Because
But I know
if you were
even
just playing and everybody else was telling you what to do, I could see that being not as fun of an experience as, oh, okay, so what do we need to bring in? How do we balance this? Who's going to go this way, that way? But if we were just telling, hey, AJ, go that way, and then you die. I think you died the last time we played as soon as you walked
I'm
into the
talking about
prison.
even before the last time I played it with you guys. 'Cause, I had incrementally played it with you guys as you guys were leveling up. Because I remember even I started to get bored with it even when you guys were just in the teens of the level up. So you guys haven't even hit the fucking 30s and 40s yet. And even by then I was like, I don't really want to play this game. And because it just seemed like, because even when you guys had hit high levels and I joined you, you guys still weren't even using the new equipment, using the same fucking equipment. There was all this shit on the rack, no one was fucking using the same fucking equipment. And I think I even
Well-
asked, I was like, do you guys use these? I was like, well,
Most of that equipment is kind of useless.
See, right.
So like the light sensors, like there's no reason you need a light sensor.
You would
It's
use the
like-
light sensor
but they're
to
on the racks.
eliminate certain areas that you think the ghost might be in and don't have evidence of. But yeah, a lot of that stuff is more luxury items than anything. So like the parabolic microphone can help in large levels like Asylum, finding the ghost if you have no idea where it's at. But with us, we just kind of just walk through with the temperature and find the ghost that way. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for Fastball for me, it was just like I've seen it and I feel like I've done it all, and had noticed there's no replayability for me. I felt like done with the game. I was like, there's no draw. And I think it might be more. And I think that might be more just how my personality is with games. Like I need stuff to work towards or to progress or build. And maybe just because that game, the only thing it offered was you level up and you can unlock a piece of equipment that you're probably not even going to use anyway. Like that just doesn't offer any draw for me to want to progress besides the gameplay loop. Just
Stacks of
being
cash.
gimmicky and old.
Cash and
Mhm.
cash.
And but yeah, I mean the VR is cool. I did try it in VR when we first tried out the game, and I thought that was a spooky experience, like Matt said. But I mean, I can go play other VR games that will spook me even better.
I think another thing.
I think that Phasmo has the potential to be an even better game than what it is. I just think that it's only one guy doing it, so I think it needs more time
It's also
to
early
get more
access.
content. Yeah, it's still early access. It needs more time to have more content, more scenarios, more of everything. And then maybe it's a game I can revisit once it's been fleshed out even more. But at least for me, for right now, it's a gimmick game. Like I've seen it, and I've seen it. I have no desire to play anymore. But
I think another thing with you, since you are like the horror guy, right? You play all these very scary games and watch all these scary movies, so your horror threshold is a little higher than the rest of us. So I think that's another reason why maybe boring, might not be as thrilling or entertaining. Whereas the rest of us, especially me, right? I couldn't play Outlast past like 30 minutes. I was just done.
That's a good ass game. That is a good ass.
So for this game, I'm still kind of exciting when I go alone somewhere and get chased by something. But
I'm not gonna say I wasn't spooked when I first played it. There's definitely when I first initially played the game, and I just didn't know what could happen. It was spooky. You know what I'm trying to say? The unknown. I didn't know what it could do yet. But then once, I guess that's kind of like my point. Like kind of once I've seen the possibility of everything, because it's a finite amount of shit that can happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I play through Outlast once, right, and I play through it again, there's gonna be certain parts that were spooky before that won't be because I know what's gonna happen, so to speak. So like when I initially played it, because I didn't know what was possible within Phasmo, I did have that spook factor. But then after you play a few rounds and you kind of keep playing it, at least for me, like it lost that factor because you understand how the game works, and it's a finite of how it can work and what can happen, so to speak.
Yeah, and I get that. Definitely the fear factor has definitely plummeted. It's still there, especially when there's the crawling girl, because she's creepy. But I think for me, it's the somewhat random generatedness where you have to. I think it's just the finding the location and then just gathering quick evidence and going out. That gameplay is entertaining enough for me that I can keep doing it.
Right.
Also
I
play
can
a professional
understand
where that thing is way more aggressive than it was when AJ was playing with us at like 10s.
Yeah, I think that's pretty scary.
I mean, I've seen what it can do in professional because I died within the first like fucking 90 seconds of what level were we playing?
We were playing prison. Yeah, I mean, and that was the case where, yeah, I could understand not being into it if you just walked into the building and getting killed. But like the rest of us have played it enough now that we're like, oh, okay, we're starting to see the signs. We hear things, so we know we need to run and hide. And maybe it's I would be. I could probably pretty safely say that because I played in VR, it brings that extra level of spook to me. Because I still, when Mark and I were doing the Jin level, even though I knew it was a Jin, I knew where it was. I still dropped my camera when it, whispered in my ear. Right, like I'm still having those spooky experiences. To me, at least, and I think as I play the game, I get braver about it, and I think that's my main gameplay loop. Is okay. Now I feel confident enough letting the ghost chase us, through the hallways, and then trying to take pictures of it when it shows up. Like, and yeah, I just really like the game, and a lot of our multiplayer games are kind of the same. I mean, we're playing the same multiplayer games we played for 4 or 5 years, and I think just adding this one in, and it's just such a different thing than we usually do, that it really just made a very memorable impact on me in this year, and I'm probably going to continue playing it.
Hey man, you guys love that game.
Yeah, game of the year. Mega Gaming's game of the year.
Yeah, Mega Game. And I called it, man. I even said in chat, I knew that. I was like, I'm pretty sure Phasmo, if it doesn't win, it's gonna be fucking high, because it's a game that everyone has played, and I knew it'd be somewhere high on everyone's list because it's a game everyone's played, and that everyone can kind of agree on and likes. And to whatever degree that may be. So I knew it was going to be up there. If I knew it wasn't number 1, it'd be at least number 2.
Yeah, and the game keeps. I mean, he keeps improving the game, and like I think Mark and I noticed that the lighting and the coloring looks different and looks less muggy, at least to me, than the last time I played it. Then
oh yeah, now I will say that I'd love to see what this game looks like in a year, for sure. Yeah. It might have evolved into a whole new game, and then I come back and I'm like, whoa, there's like shit happening that I can't even believe it's happening. You know what I'm saying? It could be like a whole different game where I'm like, okay, now this is cool. You know what I'm saying? This is totally new. It's different. So
like having Matt when he's dead interacting with me and Chris.
Oh yeah, that was a good experience.
Exactly.
Or the time that Chris let me be in the basement by myself when I got trapped in a closet by a Jin, and it kept trying. Anytime I left the closet, it would lock the basement door, so I couldn't leave. And That was a 10-15 minute just horror experience, just hiding in a closet in VR. So I was just standing in one place.
I wonder if anyone's done a Phasmo cover of Trapped in the Closet.
So should do it. Yeah, and I mean, if we want to increase the difficulty of our games, we could always do pro runs where you like go to 0 sanity, you don't gather evidence. The only thing you use is the candle. You know, there are ways to, I guess, make the experience more unique. And I think we're starting to get to the point, or at least I'm getting to the point, where I feel confident trying to go for all objectives. And I think I got to start introducing more difficulty to this at some point because starting to run it too hard.
Yeah, I think at the moment we're still climbing.
Yeah.
And getting more competent, getting more things easier, and just being more efficient at doing things. But once we hit the ceiling, and we're like, okay, we can't improve anymore. We just mastered the game. Then at that point, I think the game will die. But
yeah,
as long as he keeps moving that bar up, or introducing more elements, more ghosts, more spooky mechanics, I think then it can just continue to be fun.
it was pretty funny watching you get chased out of the room by the djinn that one time.
And I so died. I was running a straight line and caught up to me for some reason.
You must have hit a corner, or maybe you weren't sprinting at full speed.
Maybe.
But one thing we all know is what the real game of the year is, which is Smite.
Animal Crossing.
Smite is always ranked 0, and then everything else goes after that.
I would say that is by far the most consistent multiplayer game we've ever played as a group.
And we're still garbage at it.
I just don't even want to look at how many hours I've put into that damn game.
Yep.
Or
as
money.
good as I am.
Does Odyssey 2020 count as 2020 game?
We could add it if you want and revote.
Or Battle Pass?
Each Battle Pass.
I have conquered that beast. I no longer spend money in Smite, and it feels really good. I no longer spend a dime in that game. Plus, I think developers.
Yeah, nice. That's a nice thing to have, AJ.
Matt,
good.
Did I tell you guys?
you have 200.
I have tier 5 hell.
8 hours. You have tier 5 hell?
Yes. I couldn't help myself. I know it's bad. I know I'd never use it. But I was so close. I was like, I'll just spend a little bit extra to get it.
I wonder if we'll ever find a 5-player game that could topple Smite in the sense of consistency that we kind of more routinely play.
Smite 2.
Honestly, if it's going to hold my attention for longer than a year, it has to be a MOBA. I think that's why Smite holds our attention in general, is that MOBAs can shift their metas on a whim and you can move around things, right? Like Call of Duty, eventually it's just Call of Duty, right? Apex, even Apex and Overwatch, right? Overwatch has been meta's been pretty stagnant, I think. Still, I think it's still the same meta, the same team building and all that stuff. So, but with like a MOBA, you can tweak items, you can add items, you can change gods, you can add tons of gods, to the point where there's just, in my opinion, a lot of replayability, and you're also building towards something.
In some classes, they're lacking the fucking hunters.
You just got a hunter.
Or Guardians.
They need to increase it.
When's the last Guardian come out?
They need to go back to where they're like dropping a new god like fucking
Yorm.
every 2 weeks, and they're broken. I'd rather them come out broken and we get more.
They need
the hunter and the Guardian count as the same right now, and they're the smallest.
Okay.
Mages though.
Oh, you can do so many. I mean, all the mages can play any role. All of them.
So can Guardians.
Yeah,
Kevin can jungle.
I've done it before.
So have I.
One day Smite will be toppled.
It'll only be toppled by Dota 2.
Now, one of the biggest things I think will be what can topple Smite, right? What game can come and be a 5-player game, which is already tough, right? Most games are 4 players. 5-player game with crossplay, with a type of mechanic or gameplay that can allow replayability for the next year or so to come. Maybe that'll come in 2021. Who knows?
I mentioned during the Xbox and PlayStation conferences, I was looking for that, and none of them gave me anything towards that direction. They're all, single player games that are really taking advantage of the consoles, which is cool. But in terms of multiplayer games, Godfall, which is 3 players, and that was it.
So 2021 might have something. At least I know for me, I'll be playing fucking Halo Infinite 2021 as long as if they keep making it right with that last update, looking pretty good. That'll be my multiplayer game for damn sure.
Maybe Elden Ring will be a multiplayer game. We don't
We
know.
have literally no idea what the game is.
That game could be a MMO with Dark Souls controls and mechanics.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy is a game that we could get if
15 Dark Souls guys.
Story
Skip
skip.
down the boss.
Final Fantasy has one of the dumbest setups for how you unlock the trials and shit. It's so stupid.
Well, you're supposed to it makes sense story-wise. You are the warrior of light. It's your job and mission, so.
Fuck that. In Halo fucking 2, 3, Master Chief is the main guy. But guess what? We just got secondary, clone people playing the co-op. I'd rather it be like that than just, hey, only single player on these missions. Plus, it's an MMO. Who cares? Just add them in.
It's a story. It's a story-based thing.
Also, I already have one job. I don't need a second one.
That too. I will say that Final Fantasy 14 does not work well for people who have like a shit ton to do or can't really get to it during the week. Like if you cannot play that game every day, you are fucked in terms of like keeping up multiplayer.
Same with any MMO, really.
Yeah, and
MMOs are commitments.
I've always wanted to get an MMO. I just don't think now that I'm in a different time zone. Like if I play by myself, I'm just like, it's okay. I did enjoy it when I was playing with you guys. That was actually a lot of fun because I do like all the abilities and things like that.
And there are other things that we could do before you guys have to purchase anything, if you guys wanted to get.
I already did that.
I think I'm at a point where the only way to play new missions is to beat Heaven's Ward or whatever. So
we have the Trials of Bahamut that we can still do. I don't know if
Bahamas.
I already did that.
No, we didn't do the Coils of Bahamut. No.
Oh, okay.
So that is one thing we could do, and I believe those are 8-person parties. I don't remember if Ultima is Heaven's Ward. That might be Heaven's Ward.
See, the issue is, you work all week, so you don't got time to play during the week. Get in with your boys Friday night. Let's play a game together, guys. Let's play Final Fantasy 14. Well, guess what? I got to do fucking 15 solo MSQs. So I can't play with you guys. I'll just be in my MSQ for the next 3 hours of the night until I'm done. And then at 3 a.m., that's when we can start running this potential trial,
The story is really good, though. I really do enjoy the story.
I will say, when I was playing the MSQ, the story did seem interesting. I was just like, man, I don't have the time to play this game solo so that I could play multiplayer with my boys. You know what I'm saying? Because I did like the missions. But in terms of, I just hate how I have to progress solo through this so that I can play multiplayer with my boys. Like I do not like how that is connected together. I get it, but I just hate it.
Yeah, and the only way to get around it is to buy story skips.
Yep, you gotta pay money. Pay up.
So you are skipping like hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
So.
Which also sucks because in the back of your mind, like, damn, I missed all this shit. That seemed really cool. I just wish they'd make an MMO where, hey, you can do the fucking, it's like some of the Secret World stuff. Like, where you can do these quests together in a party. You don't always have to just do them like solo. I don't know. Sometimes it's not always like that in Plus 14, but I feel like a lot of times I'd always have to, drop from the party because the MSQ is pulling me to. So another solo thing. I gotta make it like Secret World or something. I don't remember if Guild Wars.
Yeah, well, a lot of the MSQs in that game are, go talk to this person, watch this conversation, then go talk to this other person, watch this conversation. Oh, here's your mission, and then that's when we party up. So that's just the way the game's built, and it's unfortunate that you guys don't play it because then Heaven's Ward was such a good experience. One of my favorite stories in all gaming.
It's So anyway, game of the year. Ooh.
Ooh.
Sure.
Got sidetracked quite a bit.
Phasmophobia's game of the
Yeah, we
year
did.
for MMG. Woohoo!
Yeah, we're running an hour and a half. Y'all ready to end this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
They already did some fucking games.
I was not ready to get in discussions about
Yeah, we got sidetracked.
this.
We got sidetracked.
You want to talk about how stupid the Microsoft gaming console stuff is? We could do that for next hour.
No,
Hey,
because
that great movie, Last Jedi. Have you heard of it?
Hey, Wonder
because then
Woman
I'll get all
84
annoyed.
was a really good movie, despite what the internet thinks.
Does the internet not like it? Oh.
Yeah, the internet doesn't like it for some reason, but I really enjoyed it. One of my favorite. Well, yeah, one of my favorite movies I watched this year. All three of them.
I'd be curious to see what happens.
Was it better than the first one?
Yes, in my opinion.